Hey, everybody. On tonight's episode of Catching Up with JB, I have the extreme honor of having Crystal Kemp. Crystal Kemp went to Topeka High and then later played basketball at KU. Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Crystal, you were born in Dallas, Texas, correct?
Yes, I was.
And then you moved to Topeka?
Uh-huh.
At what,
Go ahead.
at what age did you move to Topeka?
So I was I think around 5 or 6. My mother had a sister that was there in Topeka, and it was only supposed to be for a summer for her to help her get her beauty shop up and running. It used to be next to Styles on 6th Street. She was only supposed to help her get it started, and we ended up staying. So yeah, that's how we ended up in Topeka for much longer than we anticipated.
You, yeah, I feel like that's kind of how Topeka is. It's like a
Yeah,
vacuum.
get a little stuck, So
You come here for 1 month, the next thing you know, 6, 7 years later, you're still here.
pretty much, pretty much that's what it was.
You went to Topeka High School where
Uh huh.
you had an amazing career. You led
Yeah.
them to the state tournament for the first time in 16 years, an
Hmm.
I-70 league title, and a 19-4 record as a senior. What did that senior season mean to you?
Man, it meant a lot just because I knew that it was going to be some time of rebuilding the program. We had some great underclassmen starting to come in to fill some holes that we had. And so we had a lot of great pieces to put that together. And luckily they came in and they stepped up when necessary. And we had some really good chemistry off the court, which was good. When you can get along with your teammates outside of the court, that always transitions well on the floor. And so just having the right the right pieces. I didn't really feel any pressure on me. I had already made a decision of where I was going to school. And so at that point, it was just like, let's just go out there and play. And, we also had fun. And I think that that's the best thing about it. We had a good time.
So you were named All-State First Team, Coast City
Hmm.
Player of the Year, All-City First Team as a junior and a senior, but you were All-State First Team and Coast City Player of the Year and All-City First Team as a senior. What did those 3 awards mean to you your senior year?
I mean, it meant a lot. I would have rather preferred to have a state title my senior year, because when you're in a team sport, it's about the team, right? But excuse me, it was great to be recognized for the hard work and things put in. And I just remember my freshman year kind of having expectations of just, as long as I can get in and be a role player, I'm good. And I ended up getting newcomer of the year my freshman year. And so from there, I took that momentum every year with me to try to build up on it and just try to be the best that I could be during that time of my playing at Topeka High.
And so I like how you brought up that state title. You wanted to win a
Yeah,
state title in basketball. You
yeah,
didn't get it done, but you ended up winning at least one state championship in high
I
school.
did. I did.
We're gonna go into the spring season now, where you won the Kansas State discus title with a
Uh-huh.
throw of 145.6
Yeah.
as a senior.
Uh-huh.
That throw broke the school record.
Hmm.
What did that moment mean to you after you made the throw and found out it not only broke the record, but you just won state?
I was so happy and I was so surprised. I had won every major track meet that year. I won city, I won district, I won regionals. And I just, knowing when I got to state, because I did go to state the year before and I didn't do as well. I knew I was going up against some pretty good throwers. And Coach Stoll was my discus coach, and he was the best just because he had a very laid back personality, much like myself, but he was able to pull the best out of me. And so I just remember spinning in that ring, and I remember to this day, and I let it go, and that thing sailed, and I was so excited. And he had told me, he was like, "You got it." And I mean, talk about feeling amazing to win a state title, break your school record. You're forever in the record books for winning a state title. I mean, it was great. It was very storybook, should I say.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, we're in 2024, so that was what?
22 years ago, but we
2
not
years,
counting.
2 years ago. Just
Yeah.
we're a couple weeks away from it being officially 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. The fact that you can look back 22 years later and still remember the throw and what your coach came up and said to you.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was great. It was great.
You were also named All Tournament and All American at the 18 and under National AAU tournament.
Hmm.
Was that pretty special?
It was. Whenever you can be on a national stage and be able to compete with some of the best people in the country, and you are recognized at that level, I mean, it's just another kind of just more affirmation to putting in the work that you do. And I'm never one to necessarily feel like I need to have any type of recognition. I just go out and do what I love, right? You don't do things you love necessarily for everybody to recognize it, because it's intrinsic, right? But you go out there and you hear different things about, oh, what's the best state for basketball, what's the best state for this, what's the best state for that. And it's like, oh, you don't know how you compare to the other states that they're saying are competing at a high level. And so you go out there and you compete and you hold your own. It is gratifying. So once I recognized I had that, I mean, it was good. It felt great.
So, what was all your recruiting like? You were recruited by a lot of schools and at
I
Topeka High.
was.
You
I
you
was. It's funny. I was telling a friend of mine that I was recruited by Iowa, and Lisa Bluter was still the coach then. And I remember going. First of all, the flight out there was terrifying. I hadn't done a lot of flying prior to, and they must have put me on like this 8-passenger plane, and the wind, and it was storming. I have never prayed so long in my life for that plane to land once I got there, but it was nice. There was football happening and went to see, how packed that was. I mean, it felt great to go on a few recruiting trips. I didn't take all 5 of mine because I knew KU was where I wanted to be. Lynette Woodard was such a inspiration to me, and I looked up to her. And that trip to Kansas, just it felt like home, and I didn't even want to even act as if I was going to do anything else after that trip. And I did go to Iowa as my other big recruiting trip, and just decided not to take any of the other ones. And I think looking back, I probably should have, just for the experience. But I was just like, I don't want anybody else to get my get my scholarship. So let me commit now before it's not there, because a lot of people don't understand that that offer does not stay on the table until you make a decision.
they do
And
expire,
so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on that opportunity.
right? They're not. It's not a limited scholarship. They do expire.
Right.
They're not
Yeah.
just going to sit it on the table and say like a blank check. You sign this when you're ready.
When you're right, exactly. And so I knew I didn't want to take a lot of time and waste a lot of time. And I knew that's where my heart was. And so it was a very easy decision for me, even though I knew I was coming in to help rebuild that program. And we just weren't going to be at the spot of, coming in and doing a whole lot early on, because it was rebuilding. And I was okay with that. I just wanted to have some type of contribution to the rebuilding of that program.
So I like how you said you wish you kind of would have used all 5 visits. If you could have used all 5 visits, where all would you have gone?
Oh man, I had the biggest tub of D1 letters that I mean, I just started throwing them in there, and it was huge. That thing probably weighed well over it could have been a body in that thing, like just letters to everywhere. I don't even know. And I chose Iowa because I chose to go on that one, as silly as it sounds, because they were black and gold like Topeka High. I'm like, okay, so I can keep, all of my stuff that way. But there were so many. I got super excited about the North Carolina offer. Um, where else? It's been a while, so it's kind of hard to think back to it. But
Yeah.
I know North Carolina was a big one, and gosh, what was the other one? It was on the East Coast. I can't even remember. Pitt. I had went to an Adidas camp out there at Pitt, and played well there. and I had an offer to come out there for an official visit as well. Um,
So your North Carolina offer, did it mean so much just because of the nostalgia with North Carolina, like Michael Jordan
Absolutely.
there and everything?
Absolutely. You think about Dean Smith and, he's a Topeka High alum and all that stuff too. So, having that possibly become an all full circle and things like that. But, like I said, when there are so many, and I saw a lot of the people that came out the same year as I did at a lot of camps. There was a few all-star camps I did. And like I said, I went to a couple of camps and you see these people, you play with these people and you see where they're going and you're like, okay, we're very similar. So and it's not that I never wanted to compete for my spot. That's never how I thought about it. But I wanted to come in and be impactful or have a higher possibility of being impactful to a program. And so that was a big part of how I looked at things. But surprisingly so, going into KU, I was going to be okay riding the bench my freshman year. I was blessed with a full scholarship. I mean, you couldn't tell me anything. I was gonna get everybody water and be fine with it. Let me get you your water before you get to the bench. Run out to the court, meet them with the towel and the Gatorade cup. I would have been okay doing that. But luckily, I did work hard enough, to earn that starting spot my freshman year.
I like how you just said that.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play me as a freshman, I will do anything you need me to do to help this team win.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
you end up choosing Kansas, just 20 minutes away from home. Well,
Uh-huh.
not home, but your new home, as in Topeka,
Right.
just 20 minutes down the road. And you had the honor to play for Hall of Fame head coach Marion Washington and
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame assistant coach Lynette Woodard.
Mm-hmm.
First 2 years at Kansas, what was that like playing for both of them?
Honestly, I was really starstruck. It was very I mean, the humility of it all was amazing, but just being able to have the opportunity to soak up so much knowledge from people who have so much notoriety in the game. I felt very fortunate to be in that position, and probably didn't handle it as best as I could. You're trying to figure it all out as a freshman. I also had some things I was dealing with my mother who was sick, not too far up the road, and you take all of that in, and you know you try to make the best of the situation. But I could just listen to Coach Wood talk for hours, like, and sometimes she did, but she was great. She just made things seem so simple, and just kind of the way she communicated things just made so much sense. And just taking the complexity out of the game, she had a great knack for doing that. And just, I mean, I felt so honored to even be in their presence, and it was a blessing just to have that opportunity to play.
So your freshman year, you appeared in all 29 games, finished
Hmm.
27 of them.
Hmm.
You were also named to the Waco Tribune Big 12 All Freshman team.
Hmm.
Did when you got that award, did that mean anything?
Yeah, it did. There was some great players coming out in the Big 12. That's when we actually had 12 teams in the conference before, all the ones left.
Now
And
there's like 20.
yeah, that was, yeah, a whole bunch. And you had some great schools with some great players in it. And to be named to the all freshman team, it meant a lot. Like, I had, as bad as it sounds, I didn't have any expectations of doing as well as I did my freshman year. Like I said, I was gonna be good being the water girl with a number on her jersey. So to be able to do that felt great, and I felt like I was really taking advantage of an opportunity that I was so fortunate to be presented with. That I wanted to continue to get better, knowing that there will be freshmen coming behind me trying to knock me out of my position. And so I knew working hard would have to pretty much be embedded in me all 4 years.
So at your sophomore year, you kind of had another. It was like you made Big 12 All Freshman team as a freshman, and then your sophomore year, you just took off.
Uh huh.
You earned several awards at the postseason banquet, including the Lynette Woodard MVP Award, the Angela Aycock Free Throw Award. You were a Team Academic Achievement Award, named to the All Tournament teams at the Oregon Classic and the Denver Wells Fargo Tournament. You won the MVP award at the Holiday Inn Jayhawk Classic. You were academic All Big 12 first team honoree, and you were named to the athletic director's honor roll with a 4.0 GPA.
Yeah.
And you led the team in field goals made, and you ranked 12th in the Big 12 in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And it also says you're one of only 2 players on the team to play and start in all 28 games.
Yeah.
What did that winning those awards and just having a 4.0, being a student, a really good student and a really good athlete, what did all that mean to you as a sophomore?
Oh man.
Because the school is definitely harder, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I was able to get my feet under me after my freshman year in college and understanding how the schedule worked. It was a very demanding schedule. But one of the things that I learned, if you took care of business, you could have a little bit more time on your hands. And so I did not have to partake in all of the extra study halls and things like that because I proved to be, someone who did well with my academics. So I was not required to do a whole lot just because I was able to prove to them that I was going to take care of business in the classroom. And I'm actually a little bit more proud of that than all of those other accolades, is just because I knew I was going to have some type of contingency plan in case basketball did not happen for me. I knew I had my academics to fall back on. And, getting that 4.0 that year, it just made me proud. I just, coming from where I came from, I didn't, my parents didn't go to college. They didn't have that as part of their makeup. And, I just didn't have that example. I had some family members back here in Texas that I definitely looked up to. But it just wasn't the same having that physical access to them. And so I just knew I wanted much better for myself. And so I knew my academics, and especially after seeing some of my freshman counterparts that came in who pretty much were done with injuries, and knowing that that can happen at any time, I just knew that taking my academics seriously was going to be important. And all the same, having a year of playing under me also pushed me even more to be better my sophomore year. Like I said, it's competing for those spots every practice, every game.
Well, you got to show up every night or every
Yeah,
day because you
yeah,
don't. I mean, like the movie Love and Basketball. You see that when the point guard was Monica showed up and took the girl's spot. So
yeah,
it could happen to anybody.
absolutely, absolutely.
So Coach Marion had to retire at the end of your sophomore year due to medical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The school hired Bonnie Hendrickson, and you guys went to the WNIT your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like playing for Bonnie?
At first, Bonnie and I did not get along at all. I had the opportunity to possibly transfer, like a lot of people did once the coaching change happened. And of course, there was no transfer portal back then. It was just, I would have the opportunity to transfer to another school. I would have to sit out a year and then play after that. But I didn't want that. I wanted to continue to play for KU. And Bonnie came in, and we just did not get along. I am a very I'm not introverted. I'm very observant. And so I may not say a whole lot, and I have this very calm demeanor about me. And I don't think that she took that well, or may have taken offense. I don't know. I can't speak for her. But it took us a while. And so when we finally got on the same page, it was great. I absolutely love that woman. Um, and I know she actually is retiring this year, so I wish her all of the best. And she's done some great things. She did some great things with KU after I had left as well. But it felt good to know, especially my senior year in the WNIT, we had the home court advantage the whole way. It, the program was moving in the right direction, and that's what I was there for. So I felt good about my contribution to that, and just there are definitely some things and some moments and times that I wish I could relive for sure. But it was just a very fortunate opportunity that I am still so thankful for, that, Coach Washington took that chance on me, to come down there and be the start to changing some of the things with that program.
Big time. Because your junior year after Bonnie took over, you were honorable mention All Big 12, third team All Big 12 by the KC Star, first team academic All Big 12 student athlete, and then you became the 18th player in KU history to amass over 1,000 career points on February 16th against Texas Tech,
Hmm.
also making you the 11th player in KU history to accumulate 1,000 points and 500 career rebounds. What did that moment mean to you when you became the 11th player to get 1,000 points and 500 career rebounds?
I really didn't understand the significance of that at that moment. I was happy about it. I believe we may have lost that game, and so I wasn't all that excited to receive it. It was a good personal accolade, but you know, looking back on it, it is something that I am extremely proud of. And of course, by the end, it was a lot better, a lot more categories, and being the top 10 in history. I mean, when you have that, and you're looking back on it, it's just one of those things you're extremely proud of and grateful for. And you know, just to see how things are evolving now, it just makes you feel good to be a part of things starting to shift in that way.
Big time. Because right after your senior year was kind of KU was the
Hmm.
Bonnie had the ship going, and you
Hmm.
started that climb.
Hmm.
Your senior year, you guys made the postseason.
Hmm.
You kind of mentioned earlier you made the WNIT as your senior year. What did that mean to you, knowing, man, it took us 4 years to get here, but we're here?
Yeah, I
Got
mean, yeah, that was the part that I was most proud of, right? Because we came in to be a part of that change, and to be able to feel that shift in movement leaving out of there made all of it worth it, because we were on our way, like we were getting there. And so just trying to bring that program back to the force that it was back in the 90s and things like that, it felt good to be a part of that.
mm,
And so just being able to see the different players come in and out and contribute to the program in the manner in which they have, I mean, you can only just be proud to be a part of that history.
right. In your senior year, you got all Big 12 first team.
Uh-huh.
You were academic all Big 12 first team again. And you were ESPN the magazine academic all district team. You got Big 12 player of the week December 12th and January 3rd. And then you also became just the sixth Jayhawk to accumulate over 1,600 career points and 800 career rebounds.
Mhm.
You were just some rebounding machine down low.
Yeah, and I felt so undersized. I mean, I know I'm 6'2", but when you're out there against the 6'4", 6'5", and up, it's a lot. And so to be able to have that by the time I left, I mean, I felt I it's almost a feeling that you can't describe. You go in to try to put in some good work, and to make a name for yourself, and to be a part of a team, and to get your team to um, playing at a high level. And when you are able to contribute to that and do something at the same time, it definitely felt good to be able to do that.
So you finished your KU career ranked in the all. You finished your career ranked all time top 10 in points, rebounds, field goals made, field goals attempted, field goal percentage, free throws made, free throws attempted, free throw percentage,
Mhm.
block shots, and minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Some of these you were right at 10. So
Right.
you're probably not you're either tied for 10 or probably not in the top 10, no more knows, but scoring you're
Right.
definitely still I would say probably in the top 10 still. I haven't.
Well, since they had a lot of those players had that fifth year due to COVID, um, that took me out. So they have asterisks by their name because they played 5 years
I got
because they got the COVID year. And unfortunately, but fortunately for them, which I think is still great, the COVID didn't happen until March, and so they pretty much played a full season before
well,
things kind of came to a stop.
basically
So
everybody played a full season that year, but I guess it was just in case you got COVID. Then
yeah,
yeah.
so they were able to come back for their super senior years, and so you know, I joke sometimes like, man, if I had a fifth year, I would have been well over 2,000 points. But
Well, you were at
either way,
16,
you're still proud of that. They're still a part of history. You take away a year, they were still doing great things, and so you can't take that away from those players who were able to get to be up there with whatever scoring category or whatever category that they're measuring because they had a fifth year. I mean, they still did great things during their time there, so you can't take that away from them.
So Allen Fieldhouse
Hmm.
has so much nostalgia to it. It is on
Uh-huh.
Drive. It's the
Yeah.
home of the rules of basketball. It's had
Hmm.
some of the biggest names in basketball history play there.
Hmm.
Creator of basketball, Dr. Naismith, was the first ever boys basketball coach there.
Hmm.
What was it like for you to get the opportunity to play in Allen Fieldhouse for 4 years?
Wow. I mean, you only just think you know what it may be like until you actually experience it. And it felt great. I mean, we had some of the best fans. There was some people that still to this day that, check on me and say hi, and I check on them, and just I mean, there's just so much history, and I mean, it was probably that's something that everybody can experience, right? And you hear so much hype about it, whether it be boys side or girls side. Of course, the boys side is a whole different experience. Going to those games is
Oh,
absolutely crazy. But just to be a part of it, it's just like the history, the it's just indescribable, and just the people that you meet, those who come back, and pay homage to their time there, and seeing all those before you, boys and girls side, and just meeting some great people, being a part of a sisterhood that is lifelong. It's just hard to put into words, and you know, just things that you look forward to. Just kind of reminiscing over sometimes, and then your kids look at you like you're crazy and they don't believe anything and you're just talking, but that's okay too. So, but yeah, I mean, just completely grateful for that opportunity.
I mean, it's on Naismith Drive.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's literally on Naismith Drive.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then you got Lynette Woodard sitting
Hmm.
coaching on the bench, who
Yeah.
is one of the greatest girls basketball players of all time
Hmm.
and was a Harlem Globetrotter.
Right.
So it's like you're on the bench coaching me, and my head coach is one of the
Mary Washington. Yeah.
one of the greatest girls basketball coaches of all time as well.
Crazy. It's
I
crazy.
you and we're in Allen Fieldhouse, and then you just look up and you got all these rafters around. I mean, all
Right.
the banners in the rafters, not
Yeah.
rafters, but banners in the rafters. So
Hmm.
yeah, that
Yeah.
shit
It's great.
gives you chills.
It does. It
I went
does.
to well, I mean, you had 4 years of late night
Yes.
and
It did.
absolutely sold out.
Yeah.
It's just sold out. People
Yeah.
are crazy for late night.
Yeah.
And I went to a game this year. It was a K State at KU girls game this year, and the place was
Mhm.
packed.
Yeah.
And it just when you see that for a girls game, it gets you
Yeah.
chills because you don't see that many people at the girls games.
Right.
And but when they're winning, people show up.
Absolutely.
So you had an amazing career at Kansas.
Mhm.
When you look back at your time there, what do you think of it?
I think that it was a time, you don't realize how young you are until you're older, right? And not that I went in thinking that I knew everything by any stretch. I was just as green as they come, right? But that opportunity, and you look at how many people, especially when you go into coaching and you see some really good players that don't get that type of opportunity and experience, it just makes you more grateful for it, right? Because really, in all reality, everybody doesn't get to experience something like that. And to be one of the chosen ones who was blessed and fortunate enough to have that, it only makes me more grateful. It really does. It makes me want to pour more into our young ladies and young men who are out there aspiring to do something that they love, to get to a point in life where they can be successful, whether that's on the playing field, court, whatever, or in their career fields. And so it just really makes you reflect on how fortunate you really are.
So after you played your 4 years at KU, you didn't get drafted.
Hmm.
You expecting to get drafted, or was there any
Uh,
teams?
Not really. I had went to Boston for I had went to be a part of the Nike So You Want to Be a Coach program, and of course when they have that whole Final Four piece, the draft camp is during that time as well, and so I did a little bit of dual roles for that. And while I was there, the WNBA was still fairly new at that time, and I just got a feeling like that wasn't anything that I wanted to necessarily be a part of, unfortunately. So, and it's not that there was disrespect there or anything. I didn't get the sense that that was something that I really wanted to do next. I know I still love basketball and I wanted to be a part of it some way. And so I had got an offer to go play overseas in Romania. Unfortunately, the degree that I had to finish out a semester after the season was over. And so I had to join the team a little bit later so that I can finish my degree. And I just played overseas 1 year just to say that I did it and have that experience. I had other opportunities to continue to play. However, I wanted to, basketball had been so much of a part of my life that I wanted to experience other aspects of it that I kind of missed out on because of my commitment to basketball, which I don't regret at all. But I just wanted to make sure that I experienced other pieces with basketball not necessarily being the forefront. And so I played 1 year. We won the Romanian championship. Um, and that was a great experience. And I came back to Texas and got into teaching and coaching.
So you said you went over there to Romania for that
Hmm.
your first year out of college.
Uh-huh.
What was that transition like for you, just going from the States to Romania?
It was very hard. It was very hard. Romania is a third world country. I came over after the season had started. They were maybe a month and a half into the season. Like I said, I had to stay back and finish up with my degree because there were only classes offered in the evening that I couldn't partake in because I was a student athlete. And when I went over there, it was hard because I had to come in and fit myself into an already established team, and not necessarily just because, but the season had started. So here I am coming in. I'm trying to take somebody's starting spot. I'm
Yeah, you
coming in.
were up.
Yeah, and Americans are making more money than the ones who reside there, and so you have that conflict, and it's just the language barrier, the living conditions were much different than what I was used to, but I was excited about it. But my time in Romania was probably, I attribute it to being something that definitely changed my perspective on life. Just seeing how people lived over there and how appreciative they were of the smallest things, and how fortunate we are in America. And it really changed my outlook on life, so to speak, that I was able to do something that I loved, make good money doing it. And I didn't have to live in the manner in which they lived. And I thought how I lived was a little bit rough, but there's absolutely no comparison. And so it was just very life changing in a way that made me forever grateful for the opportunities that I have had and the ones that I had before me.
So, what's Crystal Kemp been up to lately?
Oh man. Well, I have been in education pretty much since I came back from Romania. And the past 9 years, I've been in administration. I've been an assistant principal at the high school level and junior high level. I was the head basketball coach at a 6A program here, and we did fairly well by the time I left out of that program. I have two kids. I have an almost 13-year-old son and an almost 11-year-old daughter. They both participate in sport. My son is also an amazing trombone player and very, very, very good kids. Very blessed and fortunate to have them. And I have, I'm also pursuing my PhD. And so I've been writing my dissertation much longer than I would like to have been. I'm just on the tail end of that. I'm ABD, which is all but dissertation. And so as I continue to work and navigate through that, I am praying to be Dr. Crystal Kemp by next year. So that's what I've been up to, and just helping coach my daughter play, watching and supporting my son in all of his endeavors, all the same, and you know, just watching this time go by super fast. That's what I've been up to.
So, is your daughter a little Crystal Kemp?
Yes, she is. She is. She is. She is going, if she wants it enough, she's going to have the opportunity to be much better than what I was. She has a lot more resources around her. She has a mother that played. Like I said, my mother probably couldn't catch a basketball if you passed it to her. So um, she has so much knowledge. Her father also played as well. But and both of them, they have it in them. And so, you put in the dedication and work, but I honestly believe she is going to be way better than what I was. She's pretty good right now at 10 years old, and she's pretty good. So I'm super proud of both of my kids.
And you know what it takes to get there.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
the key.
Yeah.
What's one, if you could look back and tell your teenage self one thing, what would it be?
Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. I mean, and that trickles to every aspect of it all, like who you meet, what you commit your time to. I mean, just everything. Just don't take it for granted. Because in the blink of an eye, it could change, it could be gone. Just don't take it for granted.
That's perfect. Crystal, I loved having you on here this evening. Thank you for giving me 30
Absolutely.
minutes of your busy life,
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
student. So, yes, I this has been a great episode. You knocked
I
it out.
appreciate it.
So,
Thank you.
it was I was a little kid when you were playing at KU, and just
Hmm.
when that she's from Topeka.
Yeah,
It was really amazing just seeing someone from Topeka play at KU because you don't. I mean, basketball wise, you just don't see it very often.
right.
In other sports, but you don't see it in basketball.
Hmm.
So that I always thought that was pretty cool that you got to play at KU and put on that jersey that says Kansas on it.
Absolutely.
It's it's different,
It is.
because
It is.
you're representing your state.
Yep.
Well, not your state, but it was kind of your state.
Yeah, no, I give it a little credit, not all the credit, but I give it a little credit for sure.
It was like 50%.
49-51.
So you does all your most of your family in Dallas? Do you have people in Topeka?
Yeah, everybody has always been here. Both sides of my family, my father's side, my mother's side, of course. Everybody's always been here. I do have a brother that's still in Topeka, and of course, some lifelong friends and people who became family still in Topeka. But everybody else is here, and when I do go back, I try my best to see as many people as I can. But I'm not there very long, fortunately. But yeah, it's not a whole lot that I have back in Kansas, but those lifelong friends that often make their way down here, and some family, like I said, some friends that became family and things like that. And I don't get back as much as I would like to sometimes because everything is so busy. But when I do, I definitely try to make my presence known and see those um, that I can.
You're a Trojan. I'm a Scott.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
No hard feelings.
Yeah, none. No, I'm sorry, but I hear you.
Hey, I really do appreciate you coming on here. I had a great time talking to you
So
and
did I.
learning your story. So, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I just want to tell you guys thank you for watching another episode of Catching Up with JB. Crystal Kemp went to Topeka High School, went on to KU, and had a fabulous career at KU, where she got to don the crimson and blue for 4 years. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.